Anthony Davis has officially spoke out on the trade between the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers. What will he have to say about this? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this episode of Joe Murr's Sports Podcast. I hope you've all enjoyed the content we've put out so far, and I've enjoyed everyone who's followed us along up to this point. Can't wait to create some more content for you and keep you all up to date on the NBA, and all you have to do that is go down below, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and make sure to like this video as well if you enjoyed what you saw. Comment on the video, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see or your thoughts on Anthony Davis speaking out about this trade. This is actually an article from NBC Sports by Kurt Helen, and it says, Anthony Davis opens up about shock of trade, playing in Dallas, family is happy, everybody is happy. Exactly what you'd like to hear, obviously coming from Anthony Davis, who weren't really sure where he'd be mentally after the trade had happened. It seemed like he wanted to stay with the Los Angeles Lakers. It seems like fans wanted that as well, but you can't turn down Luka Doncic by any means. Dallas Mavericks fans have been very upset with this, with the Anthony Davis injury woes being in the past, and they're currently happening right now. He actually just returned from an injury that left him out for over a month, and that's not exactly what the Mavericks had hoped to see, but maybe Davis is happier in this situation, and that's just a silver lining to this whole move for Mavericks fans. We can see it says Anthony Davis pushed to get back on the court in Dallas. From the outside, there were a lot of calls to shut him down, especially with Kyrie Irving out for the season with a torn ACL. Another major blow for the Dallas Mavericks. Why not tank? Try and get a better draft seeding, hope for another Derek Lively II style pickup, but Davis wanted to be back on the court. AD opened up about that, the trade, life in Dallas, and much more in a must-read interview by Mark Spears of ESPN's Anscape. So you can actually see Mark Spears. He covers a whole lot to do with the league, of course, and then Mark Stein on the sideline covers a whole lot to do with the Dallas Mavericks as a whole. He spoke out a whole lot about Anthony Davis, obviously, and the Dallas Mavericks. Even covered a little bit of Luka going over to the Los Angeles Lakers, so definitely check out that as well. We were playing with 6, 7, 8 guys who were coming in after playing a game 40, 42 minutes drained, tired, having to play back-to-backs, having to come in and still weight lift and get their shots up. That was a motivator for me. I knew I was going to come back just because of the amount of games we had left, and not even that, just the position we were in too. So good to see a leading mentality there from Anthony Davis, who's been in the league now for about 13 seasons. So really good to see that he's taking that approach to the game at this age. That's definitely something that you'd like to see from him and Kyrie, as they would really be the leaders of this franchise at this point in time. Both getting paid a lot of money, both very good players in their prime, and still arguably in their prime. So it's good to see them, a Davis at least, coming out on top and being a leader for that franchise. The Mavericks have one game led over the Suns for the number 10 seed with 8 games to play. Dallas also has an easier schedule the rest of the way. The postseason is within reach. But it really has to do with these injuries for Dallas. It's not necessarily who they're facing, but that does help. Don't get me wrong. They want to play against easier competition to try to make it in that play-in spot. If they're going to fight for this, if they're not going to try to fully tank, then you're going to have to do everything you can for the play-in. Try to make it into the playoffs and at least make some noise. Really show who you are. They weren't one of the best teams in the league last year when they made the finals, but they had Luka Doncic then, so it's a whole different story. So it says, of course, Davis is in Dallas as part of the shocking trade that sent Luka to the Lakers. Davis, like everyone, did not see the trade coming, but he's happy in Dallas. I'm great. I don't feel it, but a lot of people have been coming to me and telling me they haven't seen me smile like this in a long time. Family is happy. Everybody is happy. It's the nature of the business. Obviously, the first maybe 48 hours, it was just a shock because I wasn't expecting it. Nobody was expecting it, so they say. But I know from my side, my team, my family, and everybody who works with me, I wasn't expecting it. Even when I was getting some of the calls about the trade, I thought guys were playing. But it ended up being true, and that first initial emotion was more of a shock, just seeing the position we were in. We're 5th in the West Conference. We were rolling. Why happen now? Makes a lot of sense, Davis coming out and saying that. The Lakers looked like a very good team before the trade even happened, so why move anything around at all? Well, obviously they thought that they could do better with Luka Doncic for the future. They didn't see a situation, I don't think, that they were going to contend this season, and they decided to move on fair enough. A trade like that comes across the table, and I mean, you absolutely cannot turn that down. No GM is going to turn down a trade of that caliber. Luka being traded to you, that type of player, you're never going to turn that down. And I wasn't playing. Davis was injured at the time of the trade, so I just tried to feel everybody out and just kind of let it happen organically. And now we got a super tight bond, man, with all the guys, so I'm happy, man, happy I get to play. So good to see Davis happy, of course. The Lakers are also thriving. The Mavs not so much thriving, but maybe things will change, obviously, in the future. Davis hasn't been healthy at all. He's only played a handful of games, not even. I think it's been 2 total since he's been in Dallas up to this point of me recording this. So it'll be very interesting to see if he can stay healthy, and if he can, what impact he can make on the court for the Dallas Mavericks. Davis does get to play. In his time on the court in Dallas, you can see how his gravity opens up the court for others. Mavericks are 2-0 in the games where AD has taken the court since his return, and they are in a good position to hold on to the number 10 seed. That is not enough to calm the storm on Mavericks fans after the trade, but being on the court and helping his team win is all Davis can do, and he's happy to do it. He's happy in Dallas wherever that road ultimately leaves. So yeah, no, definitely it's good to see that things are starting to work out a little bit more for Dallas. This did look like one of the not so great, if not, I dare say, worst trades in NBA history at the time. You're trading a guy on the wrong side of 30 for a guy that's very young. Both MVP candidate type of players. Luka, probably a better player overall, but there's been times that we've definitely talked about Davis being better in the past few seasons. He's definitely no slouch himself, but Luka Doncic is a whole other breed of player. I mean, I think he's a very special player, one that comes around not so often. I don't know if we've ever seen a player quite like Luka. But when it comes to Davis, we have seen guys similar to that, maybe not to the caliber of him. He might be the best out of that mold, but it's really difficult to say because when we look at big men, historically, they're guys that didn't really want to shoot. Davis seems to want to shoot a bit more. Is that an issue for him, or is it a good thing? It really depends on if the shot is falling, and most of the time, it doesn't seem to be falling. So hopefully he can turn that around as well with his game. Very good finisher on the inside. Elite defender, depoy type of player on the defensive end. And hopefully he can stay healthy for the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie gets back to the court and they can really make some noise next season. And maybe even in the postseason this year if they can sneak in that play-in and get past that game. Either way, let's hope the best for the Dallas Mavericks and Anthony Davis. Glad to see him speak out about this in a way that he's happy and not necessarily with any disdain. If you'd like to see any more content like this, let me know for sure. That's all I've got to say on this one right now. I'm your host, Joey Mercer. Make sure to go down below, like the video, comment on the video, sub to the channel, turn on the bell for notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one.